Hey guys.
Oh, hey, Pat.
Both
hey.
Seth and Mariah, and all you listeners out there or watchers. Creepies.
All of them. Yep, and creepers just staring at us, sitting here at the TV.
Thanks for joining us as we are about to talk about
May December.
Doozy
May December. Oh, sorry, was that too quick, Pat? I'm sorry.
Called May December.
We talked about it in December, so I feel like we're really legit.
It's a new movie.
It is.
It's new. You can probably find it on Netflix right now.
Wow.
If you want.
Go. Stop listening and go.
And you should maybe, because we're going to spoil the crap out of it.
Yeah. Go now, listen, and then come right back.
Although the 90s might have done that for you as well, if you paid attention to the tabloids, as we'll get into.
Oh, good one, Pat.
And really talk about how this movie is very frustrating and unsettling, and yet a delight.
Much like our podcast,
Can it be all those things?
Much like our podcast.
Very unsettling. I'm unsettled all the time.
Apt.
Every minute.
So stick around for far too long and listen to us talk about this gem of a movie, May December.
Here we go.
Oh, it's alive! It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
I love you.
I know. What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
I see dead people.
Milk was a bad choice.
Hello and welcome to another episode of How to Be a Movie Snob with your hosts with the mosts. Starting to my right. Actually, in the podcast, everyone's to my right because that's just the way I cut it. So even Patrick, even though we're looking at him, is also to my right.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Right, that's right.
I'm in the Brady Bunch version.
Yeah, the Brady Bunch version. Anyways, but to my right in reality, the one, the only, the marvelous Mariah.
Hi.
Hey, Mariah.
Good evening.
Good having you. Good having you.
Settle down.
And the one
Easy.
closer to my right in the video, but much further away in reality, both figuratively and
emotionally.
Emotionally. He's just a cold-hearted person. It's our favorite person, Pat.
Wow.
That was pretty good.
Really escalated.
Yeah.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Pat.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too, buddy. Folks, we are here with another How to Be a Movie Snob podcast, and we are going away from the usual. We are coming into modernity. Moderna.
The right now.
The here and now, even though this is, recorded a month ago. But still, we are here right now for your listening enjoyment with actual relative movies for this award season. Because, folks, it's Oscar season. We're in January. They've probably nominated this movie by now, but they haven't nominated it officially for an Oscar.
We just have a feeling.
We just have a feeling.
Wink.
Wink, wink. Because, Oscar nominations are super surprising when they come out.
Shocking.
Said no one. So, folks, we have a doozy of a doozy. It has a lot of cool shout outs. It has a lot of just awkward but just scrumptious characters with a bunch of no-name actresses. Oh wait, no, we have two mega stars.
We've seen a few.
And then a new
Heavy hitters.
And then we got some new people on the scene. The amazing Star Wars queen herself, Miss Natalie Portman. Mrs. Natalie Portman, I guess. I don't know
her favorite character.
Her favorite character she's ever done. And the one, the only, Julianne Moore, working with a director she's worked with not once, not twice, not 3 times, not even 4 times, but no, 4 times before, because this is her 5th movie with him, Julianne Moore. So, if you haven't guessed what the movie is, Mariah, what movie are we talking about today?
May December.
That's right.
Not to be confused with January, which is this month.
But we recorded in December, so we feel like we're on it. On it. There's a lot to say about this movie. First thing, as we always start out, with our cold brews and hot takes. And we always throw Pat on the bus and make him go first, because probably he's the furthest away. Is that fair?
He can't hit us.
No, he can't. He can't.
So we can make him do a lot of things.
So, Pat, if you want to see our favorite person, Pat, you got to go first. So what's your hot take for May, December?
Yeah, and I'm going to go back to maybe my usual. So I think this movie achieved everything it set out to and do to me as a viewer. But that left me wishing it had different goals.
It assaulted you and you weren't happy about it, is what we're saying. Do you feel like you're the victim here?
Yeah, I felt a little unfulfilled by expectations that the movie didn't necessarily want me to have. But,
do you think?
yeah.
Do you think this is a reflection of your personal life, or actually for the movie as well? Do you think this is something that?
I hope not.
Okay, yeah, no, that's fair. That's
I mean,
fair.
although at the same time, it is. I think there's, and we'll get into it.
Yeah.
What this movie is essentially about is, it's tabloid stuff that gives me strong feelings in real life at times, and certainly when I have children the ages of these events, it's way different than when I was a child and this stuff happened.
So true. I didn't
so
even
there's
think
just
about
there's a lot of feelings.
A lot of
about
feelings.
what I wished would have happened.
Yeah.
And it didn't, which I think was true to the characters and true to life, unfortunately. But
yeah. Oh, for sure.
anyway, we'll get into it.
Okay.
We'll get into it.
Okay, Mariah, what's your hot take for the May December?
This is a big budget Lifetime movie. That's what this is. And I know I'm not the first one to say it about this movie, but I believe it.
That's so good.
I have seen high camp as a
Yeah, I didn't know what that
phrase.
was, what they meant by high camp. And even the director talked about it. He's like, it's not a camp. I'm like, sure, buddy. Sure, buddy. Feeling a little insecure about your camp movie? Oh, my goodness. I know that I think my hot take is that this hit too close to home to the actresses for Natalie. Because she wanted to distance herself from the character. She's like, it's not me, I swear. So good on her for taking it. But my hot take is, Natalie, is this too close to home, honey? Felt like in the interviews afterwards. That's my hot take. So this is more of a
Is this getting uncomfortable?
getting
for you?
uncomfortable. But it was so great. That was so great. Anyways, I enjoyed her performance a lot. No hate there, man, Natalie. Just want to know how close to home it is. So that's my hot take. Guys, this movie is rough. It was very watchable. I find myself enjoying so many parts. Mariah, take us through the plot before we jump into some of the backstory. So this is the summarizing by the one, the only, Mariah. Sponsored by no one. Unsullied by sponsorships for over 2 years. And proud of it.
Heck of a streak.
Heck of a streak.
Yeah, way to go. So this movie is about an actress, Elizabeth Berry, I believe. She's doing some research for a movie where
Yes.
she's playing a part based on a real couple who met when one was in their 30s and one was 12 or 13 at a pet store. And a romancy relationship happened, and
In quotes.
Ugh.
and she goes to jail for a bit, but they have 4 children and
3 children.
3 children.
3 children. Thank you.
I was just-
Well,
I was
she has 20, I think, in this.
The first was born in prison.
First born in prison, second after they're married. They've been married for, what did we say, 18 years, 19 years, something. Anyway, the younger children, who happen to be twins, are about to graduate from high school, which is when this movie is set, when Elizabeth goes to visit and kind of do a character analysis, I guess,
Yeah.
on this couple.
Research.
Gracie and Joe.
Research deep dive, if you will.
Yeah, she takes this very seriously. She interviews people in the town, family members, ex-husband, first family, children.
Which all lived in the same town. Was that true? And I think that was true of the backstory, right? Anyways, we'll get to that.
I don't know if they stayed in the same town.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So you kind of, you're taken through the characters' lives and they're reflecting on the past and you're learning more about their backstories and the relationship, how it developed, and it's a bit of emotional roller coaster. You're trying to figure out who,
yes,
who's really,
who's the good guy, who's the protagonist in
Yeah.
this. It's so good. It's the best.
and I don't know that it ever really gives you a good feeling about it, but it definitely takes you from one person to another.
Mm-hmm.
It's emotional. It's definitely
That's great.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Oh, okay. So let's first talk about the background of this. This movie is based on
The real life.
a real life and other real life situations, because unfortunately this situation's happened a lot. But there's one particular situation where it happened the most, and that is, what's the name of the couple again?
Mary Kay Letourneau.
That's right, Mary Kay Letourneau.
And what's his name?
Billy Fualau? I don't know.
Yes,
I'm not
yes.
sure how to pronounce his
And
last
by the way,
who are not working in a pet store. It's a teacher-student
yes, which they're also
relationship.
Yeah, exactly right. And I'll say the casting choices is pretty good to what they look like in that real life scenario, and it was huge. I remember being on the news. Do you guys remember the story when it came out?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember, the jokes we had.
And then as it continued, and now she's pregnant.
Yeah,
And now they're
back together, even though it's illegal. Oh my gosh. So it's fun. I don't know if fun is the right word, but it's fun watching this movie thinking, oh man, I remember that. Oh man, that's right. That did happen. And then thinking about this, it makes this just so much more just juicy to be like imagining what their life looks like right now, and what that would feel like to be their kids.
Yeah,
The exes and because she had 4 kids. She had 4 kids before she slept with her.
And you
students.
have that feeling when you're watching this, like, oh, I feel like this is, biographical, and that we're getting the next chapter of what happened. We're finding out, how their relationship played out and all this stuff. So you kind of feel like you're getting more information about the original story, even though there's many, many liberties taken and
many
changes and things. But, you kind of get sucked into it, because for us, having
seen it and experienced it, like, it's like, oh my goodness, they're doing that. They're going there. They're taking.
Yeah. And also just the whole human nature piece and the childhood trauma piece, and like how people get to this point in their life, and how naive is this Gracie character really?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's great.
There's so many like questions, and you feel like you're about to get information about some of it from her, and then it kind of twists, and you're like, no, she's really gross.
That's to me kind of what the whole movie was to me. This like, oh, it'd be really interesting to learn about why and how this impacted everybody, and you just get the slightest hints of it, and then you don't know if it's even true what you're hearing and seeing, and it's all wrapped in this like mundane suburban life,
which is great.
That's so far removed from
very
the
Stepford
incident
Wives
in a way that's kind of like blurred it to this like, this is gross.
Yeah.
But so much time has passed, is like, is it less gross? And it's like, no. But yeah, it just puts it in this really weird spot where you don't really know how to feel.
Yeah, you feel like
all of it.
Yeah. The beginning, you kind of get the idea that, oh, the grossness is worn off. The town is backing these people and thinks they're this family.
Yeah, they're sort of accepted.
Yeah, that they're, they've all moved on, and, they kind of are cherished community members. And yeah, and I think that's what, of course, they wanted everybody to think. And maybe thought once this actress gets to town, they can convince her the same way. And
Oh,
she's
so
going to
good.
portray her in this certain light. And not only is the actress messed up in her own way, she gets a lot more information and unveils this really many weird and disgusting layers.
Dare we say?
Kind of.
Dare
or
we?
did she?
Dare we call her an unreliable narrator?
For sure.
Dare we call her that?
Gracie.
And
Yeah.
at the same time, there's this side story about Joe, who's kind of, what does it all mean? What are we going to do when our children are out of the house? And, I'm actually very, very messed up. And this was not okay. And what am I going to
And
do
we never
next?
really talked about it.
Yeah. This is pretty icky. And
Okay.
you really like him. You love that guy.
Oh gosh, he's the best. You love him
and
at
his
the end.
butterfly keeping.
Oh, he's just because and it's almost like he's stuck in this. He never got a chance to grow up, so he's still this.
Yes,
he
he
has
both
his
grew
chance.
up so fast and never grew up.
And
at
never
all.
grew up at all, and he never got a chance to figure out who he was. He's stuck in this teenage, not sure how to express anything. He's been mentally abused and sexually abused, frankly, since he can remember, and you really, it's fun how the movie takes off those layers, like little by little, like opens, because he's such a, which is perfectly played by this actor. It's just he just slowly, because we know people shoot. Pat doesn't show emotion at all. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
people who don't.
But he has to have some. That's the thing. There's
He'll
something.
break soon. Yeah. Someday we'll know that Pat has emotions inside him. We'll figure that out
Stay
someday.
tuned. Keep
I'm not
listening.
completely dead inside.
Keep listening, everybody. We're going to get there.
Little by little.
Can we also say that another layer to this that for me just created so much more confusion and interest was the music that went
we gotta
with
talk about
this
this.
movie. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
It was great.
I was like, who's going to jump out from the closet and stab them all to death? Like, this
Yes.
is so intense.
So, Pat, do you know about the music?
I know. Yeah.
Okay,
kind
cool.
of.
Okay, so I'm going to go into another side jump, and then we're going to jump back into the plot. Because I think there's some things we haven't talked about in the plot, because there's so many things we haven't even talked about, like the juiciest parts of the plot, frankly, because it's just so, like, you can't believe it. And the points where you see the characters turn, that's one of my favorite. Like, because each character, you see him turn a little bit, and everything changes in the whole entire movie. So they interviewed, oh my gosh, just for the director's name. Help me out, guys. Research team.
Todd Haynes.
Todd Haynes.
Haynes.
The legendary Todd Haynes. His filmography, I had no idea was so good. Just so, like, he's kind of always been this movie snobby guy.
Have you guys seen his other movies?
Name them off for me so I can say yes or no.
No, I haven't.
I think I have.
There's a few
I've
that
only
I
seen
felt.
one.
There's a few that I felt like I was supposed to.
I watched his first film school film. It's on YouTube.
The Karen Carpenter one?
Yes, that was so good.
That sounded good.
It was because he
Yeah.
used little like miniature dolls for
Ah.
the whole thing.
That's cool.
And he cut it with. Anyways, it was great. So yeah.
Yeah.
So I've watched one Todd Haynes film. Let's make sure. I think I have. I was going through the list.
I'm
Far
kind
from
of-
Heaven, I'm Not
Dark
There,
Waters,
which was
Carol. Oh my gosh, no.
Mildred
Safe,
Pierce.
Safe, which is
What?
Julianne Moore's first movie,
Yep.
starring role in a movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'd only seen Dark Waters before. I was very aware of I'm Not There, and I've seen like
For sure.
clips of it and stuff.
Yeah.
And Carol also had quite a bit of
Oh yeah, tons of awesome.
buzz around it when it came out, but I never actually watched it. So Dark Waters is my only other
Yeah.
foray into Todd Haynes, which is great. Mark
Yeah.
Ruffalo.
No, I can't
Good
wait.
stuff.
I can't wait to jump into more of his stuff. So I watched two because Todd Haynes is kind of a film snob. I mean, most directors are, but he's kind of also like next level film snob.
Well,
So-
and also he's really music centric.
Yes.
Too.
Oh yeah, so good.
Very biographical kind of.
So
vibe.
the 6 movies that this is basically patterned after, because he has 6 movies that he basically not ripped off, but like strong homages to was Ingrid Bergman's Persona, which is the two.
That one I knew.
And there's just scene by scene. I can't wait for us to do that movie on the podcast, by the way, because that'll be another brilliant one. One of my favorite movies of all time, Sunset Boulevard, because I just forgot everyone's name. The teacher. I can write all these names out. She is. I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille. Like, this is literally like everyone. She's the laughing stock, but she still thinks she's the star. Like, she is this character in Sunset Boulevard, and that's perfectly. That makes so much more sense. I'm like, oh yeah, she thinks she's running the show when everyone's laughing at her, or everyone's like, it doesn't. She's in this imaginary world, which she totally is, with the baking of cakes and all that. The go-between, and this is the one. It's the exact same soundtrack. He takes the soundtrack from Go-Between, and that's why it sounds like what it does. Oh. It's they re-recorded it, of course, but they take that soundtrack and rearrange it a little to fit the pace and everything else.
Well, he said he would play it on set.
Yes, I'm so glad you're saying this, because this is like favorite part. Like, as a filmmaker, like that's not a very common thing to do. So he'd play this sound before they would act their scene, and so that kind of gave him the feel of how each scene was going to be shot. And to me, I'm like,
very unsettling.
How cool is that? And at first, I'm like, bro, what's with the soundtrack?
Yeah.
Like, I was like thinking, this is like Halloween, the first Halloween? Like, I was like that kind of level. I'm like,
yeah.
But
and it felt like melodramatic in a way. Because the first time you hear it,
yes,
it's that slow pull in.
Yes.
And she says, I think we don't have enough hot dogs.
Yeah.
And then the music plays, and you're like,
this does not
should I be
fit the
scared about
that?
that?
That's what I kept thinking. Like, who is going to drop this bomb in here?
Pretty heavy hand, bro. Pretty heavy hand. That's what I thought. Like, the needle drop. And also, I'm like,
it's
okay.
also just another way to make you go, I'm not sure how I'm supposed to feel about this.
Yes.
Like,
although in another way, it tells you how you're supposed to feel, which is not comfortable.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Super uncomfortable.
So that was amazing.
And then it was kind of like, to me, that one played for laughs.
100%.
Put me in an uncomfortable place.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, oh, is this going to be funnier than I thought?
Yeah.
And there are other times where it was like, this is like kind of a ridiculous situation, but it wasn't really ever funny. I did see a lot of reviewers talk about like it's
I did
humorous.
too. The humor.
And it's like I mean, I didn't get a lot of that. Like the hot dog music cue was the highlight of humor for me.
Maybe it was more funny, sad. Like.
Yeah, it was like, oh, how pathetic.
We had a phrase called "It's so tragic, it's funny, it's tragilarious," and this could definitely fit into that tragilarious category. I'm gonna finish our list and we move on from there. The next one, of course, is The Graduate. Like, this has heavy influence from The Graduate, of course.
The Graduate's way less icky.
Well, the irony is that's where they often cite the humor, because the humorous feel from The Graduate, because it is also absurd situations in The Graduate. They say is kind of these absurd situations where you have an actress sitting there for the dress she's going to wear, or the actress sitting for the dinner for. Like, that doesn't make sense.
Graduation dinner.
Like, that doesn't make sense that she's there. She doesn't need to be there for that. Like, it's just this absurdness. So the humor is like, this is so ridiculous that she's doing this. Like, this is so. Next one, and then the last one, which I've heard of, but I didn't. I'll be honest, I was surprised it wasn't like a YouTube documentary. The Bloody Sunday, which is another where the younger man is having an affair with the older man, anyways, it's like this big love. I don't think it's a love triangle, but it's another British film where it's very set in like your regular I guess upper middle class, and so another love triangle situation that's just messy and icky, and so those are the 6 films that he said really influenced his direction with this film, which I thought that's a pretty good snobby list right there, folks. That's a good 6 movies. You want to really be a snob, watch those 6 movies, then watch this movie and you'll be like, I saw that coming.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to be a real snob. So that was pretty cool. Also, check out, if you want to find out his snobby stuff, go to the Criterion Collection, and he picks out his favorite movies of all time on the Criterion Collection.
I've seen the Criterion.
And that's
Criterion
pretty
Closet
cool.
is pretty golden stuff.
It makes us. I mean,
Yeah.
we're obviously want to be film snobs, folks. The secret is we're not actually film snobs. Sorry, that's the
But
secret.
it's a lot of
Yet.
But we're trying.
For you folks who like ASMR a little bit too, there's a lot of quiet talking, selecting things.
DVDs,
and
Blu-rays
it's
coming out.
cerebral.
Very.
It's pretty good YouTube watching. If you're into that, which I am.
Which you are.
The other funny scene.
Oh, we're going to scenes now. Perfect. Okay, we gotta go to
Well, sorry.
No, do it. I'm ready. I'm
We're
ready for
on
scenes.
the humor part. Georgie, when we first meet Georgie,
Yes.
and he's at the cover band,
So
he
good.
throws the drink at his drummer for being
So good.
For being
I was
offbeat.
like, and everyone's just like, yeah, it's just Georgie. Like, I thought that was quite compelling, he was awesome. Like, I was so drawn to like, what is your deal, guy? Like, you are, you're just chaotic, energy floating around in this already messed up place. I think that was the thing. He acted like I wished everyone acted based off the circumstances.
I was literally going to
Why
say.
aren't you all like completely furious?
You should
at
all
this?
be so messed up.
There's
and you're
two
pretending you're
characters
not.
that didn't fit in that environment, and one was him, and who was the other one who didn't fit? The daughter who came back from college, because both those
Mary.
characters just said it as they were, and it was almost confusing to me. I'm like, oh, you're not in the right. In this movie, nobody tells you the right things. You're in the wrong situation. But that was why it was so refreshing, because all of a sudden you're like, she literally says, "Why are you here? This is stupid." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm the messed up." So it was like, they were the only doses of reality in the whole movie.
They didn't have a filter,
and Georgie
they weren't pretending.
No,
and Georgie provides like the major twists in the story of his mother and like kind of where she gets all of this from, and is it all lies? Is it, the whole, she was molested and by her older brothers, and of course this is why, and she ruined my whole life. And then she says later on, you shouldn't pay any attention to what Georgie says, and we talk every day.
So what's the question? I guess it doesn't matter, but I was like, so did she or didn't she?
Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, that was
They
great.
both seem to be pretty delusional.
I think the intention was to throw in, do we view her differently if she's a victim for perpetuating that cycle of abuse, or when it's pulled away from us, it's like, oh no, she's just a manipulative, narcissistic, crazy person. And like, in that, how do you feel about it? I felt like there was a bunch of whiplashing of how we as the viewers were meant to like try and interpret all this.
And I think that's
they never let us land.
And and I think that's really reflective
Nice.
of Mary Kay Letourneau in the whole, she grew up in a strict family. She was one of like 7 children. Her father was a Republican politician. She was strict Catholic, I believe, raised. And I think they tried to paint a similar picture with Gracie, and that she's in the middle of a bunch of children, and she was raised so innocent, and she's just naive, and she,
sheltered,
was very
moved around a
sheltered.
ton.
Yeah, I think Mary Kay Letourneau was trying to portray herself, or have other people portray her as that kind of almost a victim too. Like she's just following her heart,
Oh my
God. She honestly didn't know it was illegal. And I think both that and in this movie, they use that also as a thing. I didn't know you could go to jail for that.
I knew it was morally wrong, but I didn't think I'd go to jail for it.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
But I think there's so much of just shading everything in ambiguity in a way that it just was. Again, I think that was the thing I was frustrated about as a viewer. Like, I wanted Joe to leave her. I wanted her life to kind of fall apart because she was not a good person.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of like, well, no, like even her son Georgie, who like, it's like she ruined my life, in theory is just still stuck in her orbit. Like, obviously he told her what he told Elizabeth. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, what?
It's his mom, dude.
Like, I don't feel
Come
like
on,
she's
bro.
feeling the consequences outside of her losing that customer. And she already made the cake.
Which was devastating.
It was great.
Devastating blow.
Which was, I love that. Like, you are emotionally, going through stuff here.
Yeah.
For that to set you off. But there was just this level of like, I don't know that Georgie telling her you ruined my life impacts her, right? Like the way she subtly, or not so subtly, fat shamed her daughter.
Good. That was a great scene.
Yeah.
With the mirrors.
And then blamed it
shot
on like
through
her mother.
double pane glass, by the way.
My graduation present was a
cool
scale.
Shot.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah. The scale scene. Yeah, so good. So, okay. If we're talking about our favorite scenes, I got to break down why I loved all the things that you guys don't like are what I liked about the film, which is awesome.
It's not that I didn't. I think I appreciated them all, but I was looking for catharsis of some kind.
That's so funny because I felt like
and
the
movie
audience
just withheld it.
Yeah, exactly right. I actually thought the audience got off too easy with the Georgie character and with the daughter coming back from college. I'm like, I feel like we got off too easy because they just call it as it is. And I wanted to like hang up even more and just like her subtly telling Natalie Portman's character. But she said it so directly to me. I was like, oh, that's too easy. We needed to be even a little more subterfuge. But I guess those guys were like, we don't care. We're out of the house. We're gonna be what we are. So my favorite moment was when Natalie Portman's character, what's her name? So I stopped calling her Natalie Portman's character. Elizabeth is on the phone with her fiance. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh! And you realize, oh, you're a horrible person. Yeah. And that was my favorite moment.
Well, and she's like, "Oh, I'm getting a call from my publicist." Click.
Yeah, exactly right. And I'm like, "Oh." And that was the first time we really figured out who she was. And I love that scene because I'm like, "Oh, she's not the good guy."
And she just gets worse. Everyone else,
which
you kind of just going to waver back and forth, but she just continues to just go take a nosedive morally. And...
Well, I think that's the other thing. The movie sets you up that she's your way in to this.
Exactly right.
To this situation.
She's going to give us all the answers that we need here. And she doesn't.
But she's looking for the wrong stuff. She's not there to actually get to truth.
Exactly right. Because it starts off like a detective flick, and then it starts, and then you realize this is not a detective flick at all. This is her using her for whatever she can use her for, and it changed drastically. Because first it's like, oh, it's a whodunit. Oh, this is going to be great. We're going to figure out the whole story. We're going to, pump the brakes. She's a psycho too. Who's worse? And that was my favorite because when they're in the mirror scene, you already know they're the same person. Mm-hmm. They both are these megalomaniacs that can't see past themselves. And I loved it because all of a sudden, Joe is the only person we like left in the film. Like the only person we like is the redemption of the dad.
The twins.
Yeah, and his kids.
Joe and
their kids.
Here's the part that was the sick part in my brain when they have sex, when she seduces Joe. I was like, at first I'm like, oh, cool. Now he's going to be free of his wife, right? But
except it just happened to him twice.
And it was exactly right. And he was just used again. And it was just this, it still kind of paved the way to him expressing things. So it's still like this freedom through breaking out of the bondage, but it's still like, oh, you're not going to save me.
No.
Well, and she was doing it to try and get into character.
So good.
And then
I need to abuse Joe, so I understand what it was like to abuse Joe.
Yeah, and excuses it just like Gracie and the whole. That's just what grown-ups do.
That's why Mariah stopped doing Hollywood stuff. Actually, she's like, it's too hard to get into character. Getting back.
I'm not going to be a grown-up.
Yeah.
It's kind of.
Well, and then, the other phone call she has with the director, and you're like, oh, you're having an affair with him too,
Yeah, exactly. That was so good.
Just the worst the whole time.
So good. And I was like, oh, Claire Bow. This is Clairbo.
Yeah.
She is our literal
I think
Clairbo.
Hanging on.
There was, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit.
Okay, I like it.
There was some amount of catharsis in that she ended up making a terrible movie. Basically, about as bad a movie as she watched when she's at the house at the end, right? It's like maybe higher level Hallmark Lifetime bad. As she's sitting there stroking a snake,
Oh, right.
struggling to find the truth.
I'm
You're like,
almost there.
okay, all of this,
there.
One more.
all of this leads to just an awful thing anyway.
That's
like,
great.
You don't win here either, I guess.
No.
I don't know. That was like, to me, like, okay. Because when she read the letter,
Oh, it was great.
and
That scene is one of
when she,
Natalie Portman's best scenes ever on film.
and when
It
she
was
thought,
amazing.
Gracie had been abused, and she kind of had a way into the character, and you're like, oh, she's also so it's so hard for good actresses to be bad actresses and straddle that without it being like totally horrible.
Obvious, yeah.
And so there is this like, well, I kind of just find Natalie Portman compelling. So even when she's doing bad acting at the end,
Yeah.
it wasn't.
Yeah.
You just like, is it bad? Like, feels so intentional. Anyway,
That's the thing, is you're confused. Am I watching an Oscar movie or am I watching a Lifetime movie?
Yeah.
Like, this is
but her
very
losing,
it
her losing
confused
the
me in a few.
confidence
Yeah.
But there's
was rewarding.
like
Like,
I think so.
you don't know anything because you're kind of a shallow idiot. Also,
Yeah.
it was a little bit rewarding.
Yeah.
That's great. I didn't get that, but that totally makes sense to how they wrapped it up to kind of give us something. That's great.
The other huge misdirect, again, the movie's just full of like, I mean, the whole butterfly motif implying drastic transformation.
Metamorphosis,
and
exactly.
No
right.
one,
no one changes.
and no one really does.
Joe, he kind of changes.
Joe, he started.
Yeah, he's the start. Like he's the
It's like
butterfly.
they
It
release
makes
the butterflies and they all get eaten by birds instantly.
It made me wonder.
Nope.
So I'm gonna hopefully hang on. It made me wonder. So the movie was set in 2015.
Yeah.
Why? Was it because in real life, Billy and Mary Kay divorced in 2019?
Yeah,
This
they
is like-
separated for the first time in 2017, I
Pat,
think.
Good.
So this is like maybe
Timeline.
showing us the cracks.
Yeah.
So like we kind of get to like, this is maybe where the start of Joe's journey to
Sure.
separate.
That's great.
Well, and they probably
'Cause,
don't want it
otherwise,
to take
why-
place after she's died, too.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. But why otherwise would it be 2015? Who cares? This
Yeah.
movie could be set in any
2023, for
modernish
example.
time.
or 2024, like we are
But
today.
it was but it was very specifically 2015. So to me, that implied it is trying to mimic that. And then you go,
Yeah,
okay, and then
that's
they divorce, and then she dies shortly after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I guess we're on the way to.
I think it really does contribute to, like, the confusion about even the real story is that, you know, you kind of blend and you're confused about who this person really was. And I think it just contributes to the whole, like, this is really close to that timeline.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is about to
Yeah.
happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and but then the other misdirect scene is so after Joe confronts her after he cheated,
Yeah.
and she like vanishes in the morning. She's out hunting, or she's got the shotgun. She's
Yes.
got the dogs, right?
Huge misdirect. Good call, Pat.
And we're like, oh boy, here it comes.
She's gonna kill herself.
Something dramatic
Oh,
gonna
dude.
happen.
I literally shoot through the glass. As he lets go of the butterfly, he gets shot. Like that was
100%.
literally
You're
how I thought.
anticipating.
Credits roll. I'm actually
Horrifying
satisfied with the
ending.
movie. I'm like, that's a good ending.
Yes.
That's a great ending. But no.
That
Hard
would never.
cut to
He's too innocent for anybody
graduation.
to go after him.
Yes.
Woo!
Exactly
She's
right.
Just there.
That's how I would
No
have been.
drama even about her
Yeah.
being gone.
No.
And you're like,
oh, that'd be
What?
great. Psycho. Yeah.
What?
That literally
And
was
she's sitting next to his dad.
that was the ending.
and
I
he's
thought.
nowhere to be
Yes.
found,
Yep.
crying over at the fence, like
Yep.
having real emotions about how prideful
Yeah.
he is with his children
So good.
graduating, and
You just
And
love him.
sad.
so
and
sad that
scared.
the other kids are leaving.
Smoking weed on the roof with his son. Oh,
that was funny.
Yeah, it was funny.
But yeah, like the whole movie just felt like this tease of, again, more drama
Yeah.
that you could be like, whoa, like
Yes.
that movie was dark. And the movie is dark, but it never gives you that like big thing. It's all unsettling underlying tensions and anxieties and sadness and trauma. And you just get glimpses of it, and you're like, I kind of wanted more of that.
I feel like one of those scenes where you feel like you're supposed to get more information but don't, is the whole makeup scene. That's when great. She's showing her how she does it, and then done makeup a lot, or
By
you
the
must
way,
have this done to you a lot. And
why did you want to be an actress?
It's strange and intimate, and also like
what kind of flirty, weird?
Flirty,
that's just me.
A little manipulative, a little.
That's hoping.
That's what Natalie
but
Portman
also,
doing
she's just trying to mimic her. It's so weird. But that's also another one of those scenes where you think you're gonna get more information from this, and you don't.
Yeah.
Well, they're all wearing masks the whole time, and it's
Boom,
like
baby.
how, they're being like, Gracie is never really open.
Yeah.
Ever.
Love it.
Yeah.
And
I love it.
And the daughter, the dress trying on scene
Love
where the daughter goes back and is, I really admire you for,
what's funny about that scene?
Sleeves. I never could have done that. Like, it's the ickiest, nastiest
is
comment.
that our mothers could have said that? Probably.
Coulda.
Is that the?
Yeah.
Didn't, because our mom never would have gone dress shopping with us.
No, but it is of a time. I love our mothers.
The scale was a great.
But there is some amount of like, just
Yeah, it's great.
We've learned we should not do that to our children.
Yes.
But, yeah. It just, that one cut it was like, oh boy, yeah, this is just real people stuff.
Yeah.
And you hate it, but also everyone's just going to be quiet about it and just eat it.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Gross.
All right.
I guess speaking of that scene, and maybe we get into, I'm curious, Seth, what you thought of like the cinematography. And the staging.
Yeah.
So like that scene was so well staged in that sometimes Natalie Portman was surrounded by two Gracies, and then the daughter would come in, and then she filled the third spot.
1, 2, 3
and
shots.
you'd see her going all the way back to the curtain in one reflection.
Exactly,
it was just like so cool.
Yep.
And then there are all these mostly still cameras.
Oh yeah.
In the movie.
Very Ozu, Pat. Very Ozu.
Yeah. Not Ozu, but In the Mood for Love was a reference.
Oh, Wong Kar-wai, baby. A little Wong Kar-wai action.
By Joe.
Yeah.
Charles Melton. He was using that acting as a as a reference.
Know that.
Point.
That's so good. He was so good, by the way.
Yeah, if anybody,
Milton
and Brokeback was his other inspiration.
If any,
that was so good.
If any nomination is worthy for this movie, it's him.
Really?
I think.
I mean, I don't disagree.
I think he did a great job.
But
he was great.
You ready for this? The problem with all things, I mean, Natalie Portman, I feel was like it was so good, but it felt like, oh, this is who Natalie Portman really is. If she was evil. And maybe she is.
Sure.
I don't know. Maybe, whatever. But Julianne Moore...
No, I hear good things about her.
Julianne Moore, I feel like she's so good, but I feel like we've seen this kind of character one way or the other with her before. Because she's so, like...
Big Lebowski.
Right. This is Big Lebowski. All over. No. It's a great movie,
Different
though.
Haircut.
Oh, but she is like, you can't help but like... She's approachable, but yet evil, but you're still
Hunger Games.
Oh.
Hunger Games is a
There
good
we
example.
go.
Of
She's
that.
charismatic,
President.
right? Like you get why people would kind of put up with her.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because you're like, well, yeah, there's something about her.
Well, she's
But yeah, I
so
don't
direct
think
too. She's very good at. I mean, that seemed like an actual character trait that maybe she has as a real person, is that she's very good at saying exactly what she wants without sounding super mean. But she's very Very controlling.
So she's a Southerner.
Controlling in a nice way. Yeah. Well, Georgia appropriate.
Exactly right.
I don't think Natalie Portman and Julianne Moore can do what they did if Charles Melton isn't doing what he's doing, right?
Oh,
he's that quiet
for sure.
grounding.
Yeah.
Like he feels the most real in a way that allows them to be a little bit exaggerated, a little bit lifetimey.
Yes.
Like even the lisp choice, which I didn't notice until the mirror scene.
Either. Yeah.
When she kind of got emotional, which it did feel like that was a trigger, I think, for the character. Whenever she got more emotional, the lisp came out harder. And then as she'd kind of get more control, you'd hear more S's. I don't know if that's true. I'd have to like rewatch, but I didn't notice her doing it till way later. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on with this choice? And then that being Natalie Portman or Elizabeth's take is to go really lispy, you know, in her portrayal, and you're like, oh yeah, you're just not that good an actor. I thought that was fantastic as like this layered thing that, you know, you kind of had to think about.
So cinematography wise, that I was thinking and learning about, like what would I do different, is holding the shot uncomfortably long. And that's what made a lot of these shots brilliant, because it was what made it uncomfortable was there was no cuts to a lot of these shots. There were just a lot of oneers, a lot of like, hold it, pass what you're comfortable, and you get things that are just a little bit more of what the scene should be. And just,
which is Ozu. I feel like that's
what I'm saying.
That's
called Ozu for
Tokyo
nothing.
Story.
Oh, yeah.
You're just lingering on a scene, and you're like, something's going to happen because the scene's going on too long.
Also the way they shoot in the pet shop, like oh man, her sitting in the stockroom doorway, doing whatever fantasy she's got going on, and they're like, talk about holding a shot where you're like,
except they didn't hold that shot, they pushed, they zoomed in. And so it wasn't a push, it was actually a zoom. And so they in this film they use
the same too, like skinny little
but the
hallway
zoom
back room.
What makes you uncomfortable about that scene is not only at Natalie reenacting it in her head, but also the zoom, which isn't a natural feel. So instead of having a push shot, which feels like we're getting closer to the bird, like we're walking closer to him, a zoom is an unnatural feeling when they zoom in. And you know, Tarantino uses like crash zooms on this stuff, but this is
just a little voyeuristic.
Yes, it feels voyeuristic. It feels very the Hitchcock-esque, I guess. You know, little
they did
rear
that,
window.
You know, before there wasn't enough hot dogs moment, and so you're just like,
yes, exactly right. And they use zoom all the time in this movie. So it was Ozu at some points, but other times it's like the slow zoom, which is very just settling. And again, the whole point of this movie, I assume, cinematography-wise, is just to make you uncomfortable.
The
misdirection
music,
and uncomfort.
Cinematography.
Yeah.
Well, and I think make you question what you're looking for.
Out of
a story like this, because I think it's like
talk about
commenting on
existential crisis here.
Sensationalism. What
am I supposed to feel?
How do I feel? Just tell me how to feel.
What do you want me to think of this? I don't know.
Yeah, Kimberly, my wife, watched it with me, and she was like, "I wished I liked Julianne Moore
more."
I was like, you did? Like, why? She's like, I don't know. It just felt like she wasn't drawn in to the movie. And that became this weird, like, she wanted to like the villain more. I think so to feel like she was a more well-rounded person, and that everyone's got multiple sides, right? And not be judged for your kind of worst decision you've ever made kind of thing.
Right.
But that wasn't there, right?
No.
Because it's like, I think she is kind of just a bad person.
Yeah,
there is more to this.
She just wrecked 2 families worth of people.
At
least.
Yeah, and the last scene kind of cemented that, where the 2 female antagonists, I don't know what you want to call them. What do you call them anymore?
Leads.
And depends on what point of the movie.
They are like literally like a standoff at the end of like, they both know, and they're both still holding their ground. You guys ever...
But you see in Natalie Portman's face, like the whole, when she says, I talk to Georgie all the time, you shouldn't really believe
what he says. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, like, it felt like, you ever watch House of Cards? Mm-hmm. Remember that scene where Kevin Spacey's wife tells Cara Mara's character, I was like, oh, and the spider that you caught. And after Kevin Spacey's character cheated on his wife, but then she tells Mara's character, like, oh, I know about that, obviously. We talk about everything. Mm-hmm. And it's just like flipping the tables. And it was that moment.
Undercuts
yes.
like the power dynamic.
Yeah, it's like, no, I know.
You think you got away with something here,
but you didn't. And that was exactly what that moment was trying to do. They're both trying to flip the tables on who had the power in the situation because they're both the bad guys.
Well, and then you can kind of even layer so Elizabeth and Joe are the same age. Gracie has the same power over these people.
Yep.
And is equally manipulative, and there's just kind of like she's gonna win in these scenarios. She kind of gets what she wants. Even her ex-husband's like, they seem happy enough, and like he's trying to just drop it. And it's like, what?
Right?
Yeah. Oh. Also, just in the way the movie ends, is it focuses on the portrayal in the movie, the very bad portrayal, but you get no more information about what actually happens with the couple in real life. You only get to see how she ends up acting in this really terrible, terrible movie about her.
Right.
But yeah, you don't. It really deliberately just doesn't give you the information. And of course, in reality, nobody really got all the information anyway, but
yeah, no, for sure.
It's all very what?
Well, and they say in the movie, right, that no one really knows why, and we don't get to know why either.
Yeah.
Right? Like we don't get any more
learn to live with disappointment like the rest of us. Sorry.
And it's just like, man.
Thanks for watching.
And so it's one of those, I think this movie's so well done. It did exactly what it wanted.
Yeah.
But that was unsatisfying to me.
Oh, and it's not what most film goers are going to want, folks. Let's just call it as it is. Like this does exactly what they wanted to do, and this is all Natalie Portman's doing. Like she got the script, she sought out the director, and then the director got Julianne Moore on board. Like it was all Natalie. She was so stoked to play this character, which is great. And
it's a fun, weird character.
It'd be a fun, weird character.
All of
and if you do it right, which I think they did, it leaves people with all these questions, cliffhangers.
The other thing I loved, and I have a fun fact, which is more like I slightly listened to the movie. Being unclear about how good an actress she was.
Yes.
And getting pieces of you kind of have a TV show that's kind of popular. She kind of, big star, and then you're like, well, maybe she's not that big a star. And then, it became oh, yeah, cool, you're on TV. I've seen you on TV. But she just kind of kept sliding down this fame ladder to me as the movie went on.
Mm-hmm.
Which and it's hard because it's Natalie Portman, so we think she's an A-lister.
So the climax of her being in this horrible B version of the movie.
We think it's an Oscar-winning actress we're watching on television. And it's not.
She's going for method, and she's learning the real person.
Yeah, and the people you can tell in the town who are noticing her are diminishing in numbers too. She's becoming more and more invisible as she's moving around. Not just that people are getting used to her presence; there actually wasn't that many people who cared.
Yeah.
The high school kids didn't care about her actual acting. They were asking about sex scenes and
that was also so awkward how much she talked about that. Again, very intentional.
In a high school setting, which is also as inappropriate as Julia. Yeah. I literally thought, brilliant. This is great because you have this inappropriate situation.
Horrible choice.
Mm-hmm.
And then this other... Yeah, I'm like, oh, you're not mature enough to even know when to talk about this the right way. I get that. That's amazing.
But did you catch the name of her TV show?
No, I missed it, and I didn't go back to listen.
Please tell me what it is.
It's amazing. It's called Nora's Ark. And can you guess what the TV show was about based off that?
I assume she's saving all the animals.
No.
Okay, you're there. It's about an animal hospital
Nice.
called Nora's
That's
Ark.
so cheesy.
What a good,
That's
kind
so
of
funny.
terrible but popular. You know,
Yeah.
feels like that could have been on CBS for 10 years.
And
Absolutely.
still on NBC today. Come on.
Crossing Jordan, followed by Nora's Ark.
Probably on
judging Amy.
It's probably on the History Channel right now. We don't even know. It probably is.
This is a Touched by an Angel spinoff.
Such a good.
Starring Kathleen Bates
for like a mid-tier.
It's a crossover.
Show.
There's people from Seventh Heaven in it too.
Oh my goodness.
Nora's Ark. Yeah.
Is that Will Wheaton? I'm pretty sure he starred in that. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this movie, we're moving on now, guys. You ready? Are you okay moving on?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, I'm moving on.
I
So
don't know to what.
Yeah.
AFI just announced their top movies of the year yesterday.
And this wasn't on it.
Yeah, and so now this is yesterday.
We just
so
wasted a week of our lives.
So all the podcast listeners, a month ago. But the top 10 movies of the year are, drum roll please, American Fiction, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killer.
That just came out.
Just came out, or came out a month ago. Killers of Flower Moon, Maestro, which comes out in 2 weeks, I think, 1 week or 2 weeks ago.
The 20th on Netflix.
Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and May December. So it did make the top 10 list of this year. Now, there's no particular order. They just had, that's the movies that came out.
Which is probably the Oscar Best Picture list, do we think? It's
probably. Probably.
I bet not.
Are
not
there
Spider-Man.
10 of them? Is that
There's
what
10,
we
yeah.
Yeah.
There's 10. You don't think Spider-Verse will get...
Spider-Man won't.
You don't think it's going to get? Just because it's part 2?
I still think animated features getting in the Best Picture list is sketch. Because they're like, there's Best Animated Feature anyway.
Well,
like,
what about
you're
international
getting
films?
awards.
Parasite won, and they're in both the foreign film and the...
I know, but that's different because live action. People are snobby about animation.
Patrick's
But
feeling...
as Guillermo said, and we talked about
Patrick's
last
feeling
time,
like the victim right now as an animator.
animation is a medium, not a genre.
Oh.
Do you feel oppressed?
Not really.
I
I'm
feel-
a video game animator, so
You're not getting nominated.
You're cool with the kids, dude.
no one's giving me an award.
You're cool with the kids, dude. I don't care what you say. So now this question comes to us, guys. We're predicting the future, and it actually is the future, even on the podcast. What nominations does this film get?
Other than Best Picture?
I assume it will get Best Picture nom. That's what I assume. Will there be anything else?
I think Charles Melton's going to get a nom.
Supporting actor.
Supporting actor.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And
I'm guessing one or both of the ladies will get.
Really? So here's the question, though. So
It'll be at least one.
Here's the thing about the Oscars. They're famous for the best actor or supporting actor fraud. This is like they're notoriously famous. So let's say, for example, Brad Pitt got nominated for best supporting actor when really in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, when in reality in that movie
he could have been the co-lead.
He was the lead. Yeah, he arguably had more lines than Leonardo did. So Hollywood just kind of.
But they got to be able to nominate them both.
Exactly.
So
right.
yeah, maybe one of them is going to be a supporting actress.
Exactly right. So I'm guessing the supporting actress would be.
I think it'd be Julianne Moore.
Julianne Moore, 100%, and then Natalie would be the best actress if they both got nominated.
Yeah.
So-
I think the music should get nominated.
Get out! After all that crap you just talked about, you think the music?
I
should
don't
be,
think I talked crap about it. I thought it was weird and cool.
Kimberly also did like the soundtrack. I think it's interesting because it's
But the fact that they
not
reused
Yeah,
it,
I don't think it'll
maybe
get a
not.
nod because I'm like it's too. I mean, I love what he
I'm
did.
giving it a nod. You get my
Thank you.
nod. Tip of the hat to you.
Tip of the hat to you, sir.
Good job.
I think
creep me out.
I mean, Todd Haynes probably will get Best Director because you throw so many other things at it.
Oh, he is great.
He's probably going to get a nod there.
What about Best Screenplay? Like, she's the
I
reason.
thought about that.
Because she's the reason that brought the whole thing together. Like, she brought Natalie's attention to it. And then that's what got it all started. And she's the character development of the screenplay was, yeah. So I don't know. That's the other question.
It's not a showy screenplay.
No.
And so I don't know.
Oh,
you know what I
interesting.
mean? It's not like a Mammoth.
Break that down
It's
for
not
me.
a Tarantino.
Oh, okay.
It's not like
Okay.
anyone had really...
It's not a Goodwill
like,
Hunting.
I think it's closer to Goodwill.
I was like, it's actually closer to Goodwill Hunting than Tarantino.
But it's based on a true story.
Right.
Like, you kind of
Yeah.
already have, like, the broad strokes for this.
Except that
I don't know.
no one talks about that part of it. Ugh.
If she got it, good for her. I just don't know.
Okay.
It didn't feel like a look at me screenplay as much as it, which feels weird, right? Because you can't act on top of nothing and you can't direct from nothing. So if
Yeah,
those
for
get
sure.
the noms, you would hope the screenplay would get something.
True.
Yeah.
But
for
like
sure.
again, our lead or our Charles Melton, he didn't say much, right? And so if you
Right.
get penalized for not actually being overly wordy, that could be a problem for this screenplay.
Yeah,
Which
that's
I should probably
possible.
stop talking about screenplay award politics because
so
I don't know.
does this win anything?
I'm guessing not.
I could think it could sneak an actor,
Yeah, I think Milton
a
could win it.
supporting actor.
Yeah, because who
Yeah,
else?
I don't know what else.
Oppenheimer has some good supporting actors.
I haven't
I
seen it
mean,
yet,
Oh,
so I
snap.
cannot
Gosling.
say.
Gosling,
Oh my gosh,
if he's
you're
supporting
right.
actor.
If he wins for that role,
Hopefully he's the
my
lead.
goodness. So we're talking
I
about
think
Barbie,
that's an
guys.
arguable
I'd give it
lead.
to Michael Cera for that.
Oh, Michael Cera killed it. He was the funniest part in Barbie.
He was so
hands
good.
down. Hands
very,
down.
very good.
Okay, so do we call him a dark horse for
Yeah.
best supporting actor?
Maybe. Yeah.
Milton, dark horse for best supporting actor.
Yeah.
Does this have any chance of winning best picture
No.
against Barbie and Oppenheimer?
Not over Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Can I
Or
also?
Barbie, honestly.
Did anybody else notice that one of the producers on this was Will Ferrell?
Yeah, Will Ferrell actually has.
He's got his hand in a lot of stuff.
Will Ferrell's making some money, baby.
Yeah.
Like he's
Good job, Will.
good on you, buddy. Okay, I still am bummed that Will Ferrell never got nominated for.
Everything must go.
No, not everything. Let's go.
I love that movie.
I like that movie a lot too. The one where he's the.
The character in
Yes.
his own story.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
larger than
Stranger Than
Stranger
Fiction.
Than Fiction.
I think he should at least got a nom, at least a Golden Globe nom for crying out loud, because that was great.
Yeah.
I thought that was so good. Anyways, much
Yeah,
love,
in the
Will
comedians
Ferrell.
turn dramatic,
was
that's
great.
definitely up there.
That's
Yeah.
great. A great movie. Very underrated.
The Punch Drunk Love and
Yeah.
Eternal Sunshine kind of category. Of
Oh,
like,
that was so good.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Carrey should have won something. That was great. So that's pretty good. I agree with that. I was thinking Charles Milton also for supporting, but the actresses was hard because I feel like it's Natalie Portman doing what Natalie Portman does, and it's
Yeah.
Julianne Moore doing what Julianne Moore does. So like they felt like right on par, and the director doing what he does. Like he might be nominated for best director. Like I could see that. I don't think he's gonna win. Because it's up his lane and it makes sense and it's not crazy. But yeah, I think this is one of those movies that gets everybody like a nomination. They're pretty happy with it. And then they move on.
I think a nom is great.
So let's say max this has 6 nominations. Minimum has 2.
Yeah.
That's my
6 would be, I think, amazing.
Yeah, I'll give this 2. I'd say 6 max
3.
2
I
nom.
think 3.
You can go for 3? Mm-hmm. Over under, Pat? How many nominations does this one get?
4.
4.
Ooh.
I'll go with 2.
Just remember how
Price
many
is Right rules.
how many yeah.
Without going over.
How many best actress is it 5? Best actor, best actress,
I think
supporting.
that's what it has been.
We've been doing 5.
Yeah, I don't even know.
10 Best Picture.
I know
and
the
then
10 Best
everything
Pictures
else
is pretty weak sauce, but
five-ish.
that's
yeah,
why we know.
anybody can get in a Best Picture.
I know,
nom.
right? Jeez.
But yeah, it's the yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't decided.
Yeah.
Would you recommend this movie to people?
I would recommend this to certain people. Again, like this is
Pedophiles.
I would
Not Mary Kay Letourneau's children or grandchildren.
Oh my goodness. Maybe they'd love it. I don't know. Maybe they'd be like, yeah, she's a psycho.
Yeah. True.
Who knows?
Confirm.
I would recommend it to people who like the director because it's right on par with what he does. Like Todd kills it and it's great. Natalie Portman fans, of course, like she's amazing, and so is Julianne Moore. Like they're just really good. I would not recommend to friends who like movies that have happiness in it. Because the one thing
Or
that seems to
people
be avoided,
who lack closure. I mean, want the closure.
Yes.
You know, if you want this to be a package, you're not going to get what you want.
dare I say, this is a snobby movie?
It's snobby
It's
in that
snobby.
way, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah. I
Well,
think,
and even that threading the needle of like how cheesy, melodramatic,
yes.
lifetimey to like super classy Oscar bait
Yes, that's
is
right.
this movie.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's great.
The fact
And you're
that
like, it's
this
all
is,
of them.
It's
Yeah.
it's a big question
Yeah.
mark of a movie.
Is it really a movie for the public, or is it just for Oscar noms for the people involved? That's the real question.
Yeah.
More the latter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Uh,
So here's a existential
I mean, it was
question.
a choice. It was a movie about a bunch of choices.
Did you
right? Everything in there,
enjoy?
like, that was a choice.
Did you enjoy your time watching this movie?
I
No.
had no problem getting through it.
Yeah.
It was an easy watch, but I was uncomfortable the entire time.
Would you rather watch this or Seventh Seal?
I think this.
Yeah.
I had to go back in time and be like, dude, what did I feel on that?
I mean, obviously,
This over so many things. Like, there's so much. It's easy to follow, for
Yeah.
one, which is nice. And then it's
definitely not
really
mirror.
fun to talk about.
yeah.
I think that's the sign of a snobby movie too, is how much you enjoy discussing it after.
For sure.
Like, to me, that's part of the whole journey of snobdom. Is it's not just you watch it.
Yeah.
You watch it and then you dig into it and you think about it.
Yep.
And
And
I
this movie,
liked,
to me, like many of those, got better the more I thought about it.
Yeah.
yeah, I liked that there was so much to discuss and that there was so much left out there. I think this movie's
Yeah. Pretty good.
for sure worth a watch.
Yeah.
As long as
Yeah.
you don't
And
have
it's
to
on
have an
Netflix.
ending.
And it's free. So there you go, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, you already got Netflix. Just watch it.
Just watch it, folks. We're not going to do our reviews, which Pat and Mariah both hate because they never prepare for it, which is what they're supposed to do. They're not supposed to prepare for it, but we're
I
supposed to
thought
have
for
Well, you
2
know.
minutes about
Did
what
ya?
I would put as a review for this.
Did you write it down?
Nope.
Okay. The writing down. Who wants to go first? I had a train wreck last week going first, but I'm willing to be the train wreck that makes you guys better.
Please.
I can go.
Go for it, Pat. Go for it, Pat.
Okay. So, it is a well-acted, well-shot glimpse at unresolved trauma
Nice.
and the people it pulls in, but left me and its characters a little bit unfulfilled despite being moved. Or something.
How many stars? What should it be? How many beers? Out of 4 beers. 3.5
Out of
beers.
4?
Or no, 5. How many beers do we have? 99 bottles of beer in the ball, so we have 99.
Yeah.
78
Make
out of
sign of
99.
A
percentage.
number system.
We should have something.
It's like Rotten Tomatoes, but it's 99
Guys,
beers.
it's
I would
it's Oscar
say-
season. We need a system.
For me, it's like a 3 out of 4.
3 out of 4. What should be our 3 out of 4 beers? Is that something beers? Cheers?
Cheer beer?
Is that
Cheer
enough
beer?
beers to be nuanced? We're probably going to have half beers.
Oh, yeah. You're definitely going to drink half a beer or a quarter
But
of
I'm
beer.
going to start with, this is my first beer rating. I'm going to go 3. It could get elevated,
Yeah.
but I don't want to I'm not going 4.
Yeah, because
right
then
out
you
of
got
the gate on this
to
movie.
4 beers. You got to get someone to drive you home. Like, it's just, it makes sense. Is
Yeah.
it worth it? Yeah, that's fair. 3 beer. Oh, maybe it should be backwards. Like, you don't need to drink any beer, so it's a 0 beer is like a top score. And like the worst movie is 4 beers.
I was very sober watching it.
It sobered me up. It sobered me up. So 3 out of 4 beers for Pat. Okay. Mariah, you ready?
No.
Okay, I'll go next. A deliciously painful... deliciously painful characters that misdirect you at every turn in the best possible way, leaving you unfulfilled and excited for the next Todd Haynes film. That wasn't great. But there's something about, I love that these characters are just so juicy and awesome. And Todd Milton delights. So that's going to be the end of it. So it's like the deliciously awful characters that Charles Milton and Natalie portray are amazingly unfulfilling, while based on the bedrock of Charles Milton holding down the fort with a lovable Joe that you just can't help but rooting for. Something like that. I'll clean it up in post.
You might get dots on Rotten Tomatoes. For
dot 3.5 beers.
Too many words.
3.5 beers. I'll fix it on Rotten Tomatoes, which I think that should be our new goal, guys. Become Metacritics on Rotten Tomatoes. That'll be our new one. There we go. 3.5 beers.
An emotionally charged new take on an old story.
Nice.
Period. Yeah. That just leaves you starved for answers. But
in the best way or terribly?
In a good way.
Oh, positive at the end. I like that.
Yeah, maybe not the best way.
In a good way.
There's
in a
some
good way.
torture to this.
And unsatisfying, but good.
Because it's not for the faint of heart.
Conclusion.
Yeah, that's good.
No conclusion.
We can work with that.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Like that. I say 3 stars.
3 stars. Okay, so I gave it the highest. I gave it the highest rating. 3.5 beers out of 4.
You did.
Okay, that's fair.
And I think that
it could grow.
That reflects our conversation.
I agree.
Maybe 3.25.
You know what's funny? I wonder if I would fight for it more. Like if you guys both loved it, maybe I start tearing it down because it's I'm just that. But
that's right. Because there can be no
you can't agree completely.
No,
jeez,
not for this movie.
There's something to am I as a fan or a viewer so basic that I needed her to shoot up the family?
Yeah, right.
To be like, whoa, what a crazy movie.
That was Pat would have been 6 out of 4 beers right there.
Well, it's one of those I didn't want that, right? I would have been like, that sucks. No. But also it would have felt like a big thing.
Yeah.
And the movie kept pulling all the potential big things away from me.
I think I wanted it to either be a further departure from the story, the original story that it's based off of, and that would have been easier to take. Or if you're sticking,
you thought you knew,
Or if you're sticking with the original story, maybe give the people more than what they already knew. And this really just left you going, "Yep, I still don't get it."
That's perfect. Yeah. That's perfect.
So, which is 100% what they set out to do.
Exactly right. Because if they killed him, you know what the movie would be? It'd be Parasite.
Yeah.
It'd be Parasite, and that Parasite won Best Picture,
Oscar-winning.
So, frankly,
maybe
they should have killed him off because then they would win an Oscar. Exactly right.
And they missed it.
Serious guys, watch Parasite. You'll win an Oscar next time.
We should end it, I guess. But to me, even all the side characters, again, besides Georgie, I felt like where were the people who were trying to take advantage or something? And it was like, no, everyone's just trying to help these people.
Yeah,
they're buying her cakes.
They said she's cherished. Isn't that one of the words that neighbor friend lady said?
That was another misdirect. That was a misdirect. I think that was a misdirect too. Because I was going to talk about that because that's the first thing.
Could
be
you
gentle
please
to her.
Tell her that I'm cherished because
it
And I
felt
have a whole
like
lot of
the
cake
town
orders.
was just worried about her, so they like put kid gloves on and
Oh,
Yeah.
it's
baby
terrible.
This lady is unstable.
because she's
Don't
emotionally
poke her.
scented.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Oh
Yeah.
boy.
So, guys, how does this rank in Natalie's portfolio?
Natalie's Portland Folio.
Portland
Are you going for that?
Folio. No, I said, yeah.
You know, you see what I did?
I see what you did there. Northwest. Represent.
Poorly. You see what I did? Poorly.
I was going to move past it.
I was trying to ignore it myself.
Boy, let me look.
Top 5?
I mean,
Top
top
three?
5 of her
Top
like
3?
unlikable characters, you know. So
Because
kind of the
Black Swan won her an Oscar, and that's a very unlikable
If
character.
it makes her top 5,
Yep.
then it would be 5 for sure. It wouldn't be.
Yeah. I don't know, though. It's
I
good.
think Where the Heart Is beats the crap out of this for her.
Okay.
Love
There we
that
go.
movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved her at Garden State. That
Garden
was at the
State,
time
she's so good.
that I was very into.
Yep. Black Swan.
Black Swan, she actually brought home.
Leon, I mean,
Leon, she's like
pretty
12.
crazy.
Yeah, that's
I
crazy.
know.
I just think it's up there, guys. I think we hate to admit it, but I think it's up there.
Well, no, she's great.
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah.
And it was like a fun. To me, I think where it puts it in that, like that Black Swan-y
Yes.
territory is it's like a weird. It's a weirder character, right?
Yeah.
A lot of other stuff I feel like she's done is way more like naturalistic.
Right. Like
And
like
this is
Thor.
like heightened,
Like Thor in Star Wars.
like Thor. Yeah, where she's really grounded and says very natural things.
Or V for Vendetta, the other one that she's really grounded in.
Yeah.
Oh,
Anyway,
geez.
you know.
Did you know she was in
Zach.
Heat? Anyways, I always forget that.
Yeah, she was Al Pacino's daughter, right? Or his girlfriend's daughter.
Oh, the other
forget.
Boleyn
Was
girl.
he-
That would be
Other
above
villain
this
girl.
one, too.
Oh, really?
I like that.
Okay. What about the one that is underrated that nobody saw was Jackie? Where she
I
plays Jackie
didn't
Onassi.
see it.
I know. I feel
I'm
like
sorry.
I never saw that.
Oh, Mars Attacks.
that's
She
her
was
best
in
role.
Mars
Yeah, she was the
Attacks.
kid.
You're right. I
Isn't that
love
amazing?
that movie.
That's a great movie. So, anyways, I think it is her top 3. I think it's a number 3, and I loved her in Garden State. Just loved her. She was just so like. I listened to the Shins after that because of her. So
Yeah.
I still listen.
She,
I still
of
love
course.
the
she
Shins.
did expand
And-
our music.
Dance around all silly.
Oh my gosh.
It's so original.
But she could not save the prequels of Star Wars.
No.
that
Sorry,
was-
Padme.
Sorry. Oh, it was so bad.
Yeah.
So bad.
What about Julianne? Are we only doing...
Julianne's harder
Natalie?
for me because Natalie, I don't know Julianne Moore's early stuff, just to be completely honest. But it's with Julianne Moore, I feel like she's a character that's always pretty impressive. And she was also, did she win the Oscar for Still Alice or not? I know she got nominated for Still Alice, but I don't know if she won it.
I don't remember.
Yeah. So
I liked her in Hunger Games.
of course, she's not bad in anything.
No. The
She's-
Hours. I really liked her in The Hours.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. She was in Hannibal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, so that's why. Oh my gosh, she was in 9 months with Hugh Grant.
An Ideal Husband.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, so
I'm just
good.
saying her filmography. I'd have to really dive into it. So that's why I didn't ask about Julianne Moore because she's just got way more movies I have to worry about. So
Wider Berth. for
wide,
her.
Yeah, she's in a ton of great stuff.
ton of great stuff, but a lot of stuff she's not the main
Jurassic
star.
Park. 2.
Well, she's in that too.
Least
That's
favorite.
fine.
Second one was fine.
Yeah, that's fine. That's
It was
fine. All right, guys. Well, this is the beginning of our Oscar season series of the podcast. And this was great. I was so stoked to watch this movie because I don't think I probably would have if it wasn't like part of our like 2
Yeah.
watch list, to be honest.
Well, it was on Netflix.
Yeah,
so
but-
I might have
Yeah.
taken a gander in either way, but
So we're going to continue to watch Oscar. We're going to try to stick to the best picture nominations here. Now, we are assuming, so we'll probably get to Barbieheimer eventually. But we're going to try to watch some movies that, maybe not everybody's watched and maybe actually be prepared for the Oscars this year, guys. This would be the first year we've actually
That's always
seen
fun.
every movie, which would be
I'd
so
like to
fun.
have watched them.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, we're not ever going to do every movie, but
every movie in the
we
best
can do
picture,
every best picture.
which, to be honest, is pretty impressive. 10 freaking movies. Come on, man. The Academy Awards are kind of making us work for it. My goodness.
Yeah.
I mean,
Anyways, so
I try to watch 6 movies in a day once a year.
that's true, but that's not every weekend, buddy. Even
They're
for
not
you.
all an Oscar nom.
No,
That's
definitely
actually
not.
harder.
Not all Oscar,
Yeah.
not all Oscar now.
No, for sure. So I have to say this was good filmmaking. This was good filmmaking.
Oh, great.
And I was happy to be.
Can't fault anything
No.
in how it was made.
And literally, it makes me want to watch some of these old classic movies. Like I want to watch Persona. I want to revisit. Actually, I watched Sunset Boulevard 2 weeks ago, so I've gone down that way. Whenever we talk about Billy Wilder, I just watch Sunset Boulevard because it's amazing. I want to watch all the movies that influenced this movie. I want to watch the movie with the soundtrack. It's the exact same soundtrack and figure out like, holy crap, how do I feel about that?
How did they use it the first time?
Exactly right. So there's a lot of things about this movie that kind of make you want to be more of a movie. And I hate to say this, I've never seen The Graduate.
Oh my goodness.
I've never seen The Graduate, and it's like.
But I bet you've heard the soundtrack.
I've seen Wayne's World 2, which is kind of the same thing. They have the church scene, so it's kind of the same thing. So
Yeah.
anyways, guys, this is a good movie for movie snobs who want to be ready for the Oscars. So come join us with our journey to Oscar wisdom, Oscar preparedness. Anyways, the hunt for the little trophy of that little man Oscar.
Little naked man.
Little naked man. Well, guys, it's been a treat. Thanks for joining me, Mariah and Pat. I appreciate you guys. And until next week,
We appreciate
I appreciate that you appreciate
all
me.
of your equipment,
And editing.
editing.
Generally the work
Yeah.
involved.
That's fair. That's fair.
I like that caricature too. Myself.
Thank
that
you.
was great.
That was pretty good, huh? Until next week, guys, thanks for listening to How to Be a Movie Snob. Listen on all your favorite podcast platforms. Subscribe on YouTube. Hit the bell. Whatever. We're just happy you guys are part of this joining with us to become
Like and subscribe, as the
a
kids
movie
say.
snob. Anyways, guys, till next week, much love from How to Be a Movie Snob. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.